Hello and welcome back. Today's video is an update for my project 100 uses project pan. In this project, I am counting usage on things that are absolute favorites, high-end stuff that I know I will never finish. And I want to get to at least 100 uses so that I can feel like I got my money's worth out of the product. This is all powder products. And I realized I have completely forgotten to update on this project. It's been almost 3 months since my last update, so I've gotten to 100 uses on 3 different things, which is pretty exciting. This was also inspired by Too Much Tosh and her 100 club, similar type thing. She's counting usage on, a lot of eyeshadow palettes and things like that. I'm excited for this update because yes, I got to 100 uses on 3 things. And just one quick side note, because some people have asked in other updates what I count as a use. So for example, if one day I did my eyeshadow using 3 of these colors, that would count as 1 use. And if the next day, if I just used 1 shade on the lower lash line, that still would count as 1 use. So whether I'm using, 1 eyeshadow or all of them, that's 1 use. Hopefully that makes sense, and let's just get into it. Since I was already holding the Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette, this is one that I have used 80 times. And this, honestly, the Natasha formula is very dense, tightly packed. It does not even look like I've used it that much. I do have a really big dip going in this eyeshadow, and a bit in the shimmers also. But yeah, this does not look like I've used it that much. But like I said, the formula just really varies a lot. Even though this is a tiny little palette, it's going to last a while, and I really do like that one. There is one thing in this project that I'm just kind of counting until I finish, just out of curiosity. I'll just go ahead and mention that. That is this Wet n Wild blush in pearlescent pink. This is actually in my year-long project pan, finish 10 in 2020, where I'm trying to completely finish this blush. And I just thought I would count usage because I was curious how long it would take to finish this. And this is where I'm at now, and I've used it 183 times. Clearly I have a ways to go, so I just kind of interesting. I just wanted to do that for that one product. There's nothing else that I'm counting usage to completion, but I figured a blush would be interesting because blush is really difficult to pan. So yeah, I thought that would be fun to do. Let's move on to some eyeshadow palettes. Colourpop So Jaded is in this project. There's a lot of eyeshadow in here. I know I will never finish this at all. This is also in a project where I am trying to hit pan on these 2 shades. This is in my Pie project pan, but I'm also just counting usage on it for this project. And this is actually the palette I'm wearing today. I'm wearing this green, this teal, and this color citrine there. Kind of did a different eyeshadow look today, but I've used this palette 86 times. And again, this one does not look like it's been used that much, which is just crazy. But the Colourpop formula is also one that I've noticed is pretty tightly packed. I've hit pan on some of these Colourpop palettes before, and it took me a really, really long time to hit pan. So I'll probably get to well over 100 before I even hit pan on the 2 shades that I'm working on in my other project. But yes, this one, I really do love this palette. It is one of my favorites. By the way, I don't update on everything that I'm keeping track of in this update. I just kind of pick a certain amount every time, but there's probably about 3 times as many products total that I'm tracking usage on. But one that I've tried to use more lately is the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. And this one, how much have I used this? I've only used this 34 times, which this is one of my favorite palettes, and I really do want to use it more. It's so beautiful. I've talked about this one a lot on my channel. I really do love this one. So yeah, I have not used this as much as I wish I had, honestly, but that's why it's in this project, to get some good usage on it. All right, and here we have my second most expensive palette. This is the Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership 2 Sublime, and I am at 91 uses on this one, and it looks like I've never touched this palette. This formula is so tightly packed. I think these pans are also ginormous. Seriously, there's not even a dent in sight. It's crazy. Wow, I mean, that's a good thing because these are really expensive. So it's good to know that they last a really, really long time. I mean, if you completely tried to finish this, I have no idea how long that would take. I've never even seen someone hit pan on one of these palettes. I would love to see that though, because I'd be really curious. But yeah, I've used this 91 times and yeah, it barely looks touched. I do use the matte shades a lot. This is my favorite black eyeshadow I've ever used. If I ever use black eyeshadow, 99% of the time it is this one. And I do have this smudged on my lower lash line today with a teal shade from that Colourpop palette. But yeah, I really love this palette and I'm glad that I'm getting good usage out of it. And obviously I plan on using these products past the 100 uses, but I'm only going to keep track of them up to 100 just because that's kind of the goal of this project. Alrighty, and the last three items are the ones that I have gotten to 100 uses on. The first one is this Marc Jacobs bronzer. These are so massive. These are, you get about 2 times the size of your average bronzer in here. It is 0.8 ounces, so that is a lot. I do have the other one, the one in the black packaging, and I have hit pan on that. And it took so long to hit pan on that. I think it took me like a year and a half. So well over 100 uses to hit pan on this. I mean, the dent I have is not even that big, but I have used this and I've used this well over 100 times now because I've used it even more since I got to that mark. So yeah, it's absolutely crazy how much product you get in these. You know, I do think that that's, you know, worthwhile. I really do like this. It's $50, obviously very expensive. I can't see myself ever finishing this because I do own other bronzers, but I'm glad I've at least used it 100 times. Maybe that one is something I'll try to hit pan on at some point, but we shall see. And then this is another one that is also in that year-long project pan. This is the Hourglass Ghost palette. So in my Finish 10 in 2020, I'm trying to finish these 2 powders here, but I did also want to count some usage on it. And I have used this over 100 times now, well over 100 times actually, because I'm pretty sure I made it to 100 on this pretty shortly after my last update, which was in April. So it's been a while and I do use this on an everyday basis. I use these 2 as finishing powders. I don't reach for the rest of the palette as much, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish I used those more. I do like the whole thing, but yeah, so I am trying to finish these in another project, but I'm no longer counting usage. However, I have used this well over 100 times now. Alrighty, and the last palette in today's update is the Metropolis palette, and I've officially used this one more than 100 times. This one, I just got to that mark a couple days ago and I was very, very excited because this is my most expensive makeup product ever, $129. I paid full price for this, did not get it on sale. I don't regret it though. I really do love this. Natasha Denona is an amazing, amazing formula. And yeah, so there's definitely some dips going in this one, but again, I don't think I'm close to hitting pan on anything. I use this color a lot as a crease shade and there's barely a dip going in there. And I have seen people hit pan on Natasha palettes before and it does seem to take quite some time because they're large pans and it is a very tightly pressed formula. So I don't know that I'll ever hit pan on this. I would like to at some point hit pan on this palette. Obviously I'll never finish it. That would be crazy. But I would like to have pan on this at some point. We shall see if I end up putting it in a project eventually. But I've officially used it 100 times, which is very, very exciting. Yeah, probably this color here, I have the largest dip going. I really do like that color. It's kind of like an orangey copper. It's beautiful. I love this palette. I've talked about it a lot. And I want to buy more Natasha Denona palettes for sure because I love this formula. I will say that was a little bit of a goal that I did set for myself for Natasha because that is my only full-size Natasha palette. The other ones I have are the mini ones, and I did tell myself that I didn't want to buy another full-size palette by her until I got to 100 on that palette, which I now have, which is very exciting. So I'm contemplating some Natasha Denona purchases. And then same with the Pat McGrath. I want to buy more of her $125 Mothership palettes, but I did tell myself that I wanted to get to 100 on that one before I purchased any more of her larger palettes. Side note, I did just order one of her smaller palettes. She had a major sale just last week, so one is on the way, but it was not one of the larger ones. It was a 6-pan. So anyway, side note, but I do think, you know, kind of having these goals, you know, makes me realize that how long it even takes to use something 100 times, because unless you're using that palette every single day, you know, it definitely takes some time. And oh, I'm also tracking the usage from when I first purchased these products. So some of them, the older ones, are a bit of an estimate, but some of these things that I've had, you know, in the last year are quite exact, because I started keeping track of this project a little less than a year ago. Alrighty, so that is it for this update. Let us know, do you keep track of usage on your palettes? And if you're interested, my Project Pan playlist will be in the description box. I do have a lot of projects where I'm trying to completely finish things up and hit pan. That is it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.